much detail as possible when you're creating your budget for your expenses. Try to get every expense. If your child has tuition, you need that. You're paying for childcare. That needs to be included. Let me see. Y'all let me know if I'm missing anything or leaving something else. So once you have that, you have your total income and you have your total expenses, or you have your statements or the information for your expenses. The next thing is to categorize. So from there, we're going to go to the Excel sheet because I want to give you all practical applications for it. So I made a sample budget. Some, a majority of this is actual information from someone's income and expenses. So income source one, 68.92. Extra income, 43.56. Total monthly income projected every month, 11,248. So now that's projected. When you're doing your budget, you always want to go with projected, what you plan on making. A good source would be your bank statement, your prior month's income and expenses. If it doesn't change, then that's what information you use. Now, the second one is the actual, what you actually received. On this one, it's a difference of $300 extra that came in. So I didn't change the projected income because that's projected. I changed the actual income. So again, we're still at the total of 11,000. Now it's 548 for income for the month. So now let's just look at the expenses. Now, when I was going over and listing out each expense, I tripped up on a couple because it depends on how you pay your bills when it comes to insurance, property taxes. I want to say those two, you have the option to pay them semi-annually. Most people pay them by month, or they're included in your mortgage. If it's not included in your mortgage, then you pay it when it's due, right? And then for your insurance, again, you had that option. You can pay it in full or you can pay it in monthly installments. Well, I took the information and at first when I did it, I just put the total amount. So if I think it was like $1,200 for the year, and I put it in on a monthly budget. But after you do a budget, you want to give it a couple of days and look over it again. And that's why I saw that, hey, I need to take that 1,200 divided by 12 to get my actual monthly income or expense for that. So that's what insurance could vary, but you want to take what you paid for the year and divide it. Cable and internet, I think that's a little high, but hey, we got to try to figure out how to get that down. So once you know exactly what you're spending and how you're spending it, sometimes it's not making extra money that's going to help you. It's cutting some of your expenses that you already have. You might can find an extra $100 or $200 by just doing that. So we got the gas, we got the light, we got the water, mortgage, landscaping, maintenance and repairs, miscellaneous. When it comes to households, anything could be miscellaneous. Property taxes. Now, because it's an Excel. Yes, go ahead.
So how would you budget for like the utilities that are not consistent month after month? I know you mentioned taking 60 days of your bank statement. Do you look at it from a 6 month period, or you look at it annually and average it out monthly to budget for it? Because for the tip of example, your electric bill would be extremely high during the summer months because you probably run your AC.
Correct.
And during winter months, your gas bill would be a little high because of the weather. So how do you budget towards those utilities?
a great question. Right now, that's why we're using, if you're new at budgeting, you're going by what you paid last year. Because that is your projected. And then we're gonna put the actual in. After budgeting for a year, now you can say, hey, what did I pay last year? Or look at your, statement, find out what you paid for the year. Correct, and then you can divide that by 12 and say, this is what I'm paying average. And also with the utility companies, some of them you can get on the budget plan.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. 'Cause I know in Indiana, they'll put you on a plan for the whole month. I mean, for the whole year, I'm sorry. They'll put you on a plan for the whole year, and you'll just have one payment for the whole year, and then, like, cause it always goes up in the winter, so let's say if they set it for the winter price, when the summertime comes, they just add whatever extra that you paid, yeah, and then it'll be lower. So like, I'm on one, where I was, I mean, I don't even know if I'm still on it, but, so mine was like $200 for my, that's including gas and electric. But then in the summer, I don't use that much. So by me paying so much in the winter, even if like it was lower than the 200, I still pay the 200. So they take that access and add it to the summer months, and then in the summer I'm usually paying like $100.
How you feel about it holding your money without paying the interest?
Well, that's that's just one of the things. I mean, I probably could be like, but to me, I think it's more. I don't mind it because even though they're making money on it, it takes less off me. So I know what my, again, if we talking about budget, I know what my bill will be every month, and so it's easy for me to say, okay, when I'm doing my stuff, boom, I know there's 200 going to that, and I ain't got to worry about it.
Well, with me, I would have a problem with it because with business, it's two things here. You want to cut costs and stay profitable to stay in business. So if you can't do that, then it's like it's not much of a difference than you would running your household. You still want to cut costs to be able to save money. We said overage. No, I like the word. I like overage. Overage means extra, right? So, but yeah, I would have a problem with that. But I do understand it. Yeah, if it fits within your means, then it works for you. So.
Now, from a business standpoint, of course, that would be a little different. But just from my personal, just like, less you to think about. You know what I mean? So.
Okay. But in the beginning stages of budgeting, it's just getting into a routine to get the information and report it. Now, after you've been doing it for a minute, now you can say, yeah, I could make interest, I could earn extra money for that, or do things a little differently. But right now, we're trying to say, let's start finding out where every cent of our money goes. And then from there, we get to adjust it. That's advanced budgeting. We ain't there yet. It's good though. Please know, y'all gonna get there. If you ain't there yet, you will get there. Okay, so then we go. Broke it down to different categories. The first category was households. The second category is transportation. If you have a car note, put your car note in. If you pay for Ubers or cabs or most people don't use the public transportation right now when they do an Uber. But if you don't have a car, I would suggest a person take public transportation for 6 months to a year to save to get a car versus paying an Uber and you helping that person pay off their car quicker. It depends on what your goals are. Your goal is to get a car, then you want to decrease your expenses for transportation to save up money for getting a car. And I know it's an inconvenience these days to get on public transportation. But every time you get on there, you save it and you know that I'm only on here 6 months to a year and then I get to get my own car and I don't need public transportation. Now I can pay for it or however. I had to bring that up. I just told someone about that today.
But it's also a safety issue because buses aren't safe. So it depends on what part of town you're trying to take a bus to. Because if you're coming over there by my job, I'm not taking the bus over on Roosevelt and nowhere because it's just not safe. So it depends on the area that you're taking the bus in, because safety is a real big concern, especially on the west side of Chicago.
Well, we are in Chicago, so I agree. Okay.
But then you mentioned Uber too, because if it's a short-term budgeting to purchase a vehicle, then you need to assess how much money is it going to save. That's one. Then you also need to determine how much money you need to buy a car. So you have to look at all of those pictures to be able to make a more informed decision as to, hey, okay, I can only take that public transportation for 6 months versus, hey, I need to buy that car in 3 months. So you could be spending way overhead trying to Uber every day, not taking the distance into consideration. You mentioned safety, security, because it's a factor when you got to stand and wait for the bus to come at a certain time. You stand there maybe sometime by yourself, depending on the time of the day, and different things like that. Are you willing to risk that because you're trying to save $10? So all of those will have to be looked at. So
No, I agree. That's definitely correct.
One thing I will add in there too is you have to think about also the one thing that means more than even money is time. Time is going to be a big factor in there, and the real thing it comes down to is that it's really doing that worth your time too. So you're talking about like it could take you Uber maybe 30 minutes versus transportation, which might be 2 hours.
2 hours, exactly.
So if you're thinking about that, time, I mean, and I know when you think about wealthy people, time is more important than anything else.
What time is money?
Actually, that's a bad saying, what I've been told. That's what I've been told. That's a bad saying. And wealthy people don't think that way. They don't think of time as money. Huh?
Speak on that a little bit.
Okay. One person that tells me that is one person I admire is he's a YouTube speaker. The guy's a millionaire. And he's talking about that phrase. That is a bad phrase for people to say that time is money. But it's not. What we're really dealing with is that he tells it the opposite, because it doesn't really say time is money. That's when you think about more working for money. Time is money. That's why you're thinking. Yeah.
Right. That's time. Exactly. I agree. You can't get the time back.
Yeah.
You can't
You get the money back.
You can't.
But the thing is that so time is not exactly money. Time is irreplaceable. Money is replaceable. So it's
I
like,
agree.
so he's saying that's a bad way of thinking.
Yeah, like you were saying also, that's not the millionaire's thought process. The millionaire's thought process is your time is money. Because they're gonna pay you for your time, but you're making hand over fist what they're paying you for that same amount of time. So, yeah, in their eyes, they say time is money, because they're gonna give you some money, but they're gonna make more from your time, from buying your time.
Myron Golden is the guy I was thinking.
I figured that's what you were talking about too.
I mean, that's one of his sayings. Do not ever tell yourself time is money. That's a bad phrase for you. Like, okay, I mean, I still have to kick that out of my mind, because, you know, you're so used to saying it.
I agree. I'm in that same boat. Okay, so back on transportation. We have insurance. We have the vehicle, the license plate. You know, it's $150, $151 in Chicago per vehicle. 2 vehicles divided by 12. Oh, I didn't even put
Traffic.
the city.
Red light tickets, my bad.
That too. Like enforcement.
That's knowing where the cameras are, so you don't get caught.
Well, it's like,
That's true.
I know, I was thinking, everything makes me think of
Far
something.
away.
Small world.
Well, if you have some apps, they'll tell you where it is. What's that
Oh,
app?
yeah, they do.
There's an
Wow.
app there, what's the name of it?
Was.
It's, wow, yeah.
Yes.
It'll tell you, camera, red light camera ahead. It always tells you.
But if you're paying attention to
What is
but
it
you don't
again?
have it-
Was.
Wow.
Okay. Okay. That's the GPS?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
another version of Google Maps.
Yeah, okay, okay.
But if you're paying close attention, all you have to do is look at the street. It says it before you approach it.
Yeah,
Correct.
but you don't think about
My
it.
mom misses it all the time. Like, how do you not read that big old sign?
you made me look at it something else. Okay. That's why I prefer that. We're going
If
inside.
your village or town or city has a city sticker, include that with the plate sticker. Total amount divided by 12, get your monthly amount for that and put it in. If you have fuel, you pay for gas, include that in your budget.
You got one, tolls.
Oh, wow.
Parking.
Yeah.
That is true.
Before all the time, so I got to move.
Well,
I
depends on what, to be honest, depends on where you live, too.
Yes.
Cause if you're in the city, I mean, you can get told, but it depends on where you live. But if you live out here, you gotta consider that.
Okay, so then for transportation, we have $353.82. Next, for insurance, this is for home insurance, health insurance, life insurance, other. I only got $29.99 for insurance. But if you have more,
Was
please.
insurance on the cars too?
Yeah, the insurance on the car,
Okay,
and then for the home, this is separate insurance in addition to the.
yeah, okay, I was just wondering, like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then food, no, it's coming up. So you need an amount for groceries, and a lot of people eat out. You need an amount to eat out. Put them on there. A budget is not to restrict you. A budget gives you the permission to spend and spend the way you want. So make your budget the way you want it, and if your income exceeds your expenses, then you're good the way it is. If it does not, if your expenses exceed your income, now you gotta go make some cuts. And
Can you
gotta
say,
make some
can you
adjustments.
say that budget, you said budget does not restrict you?
It's not restricting you, it's giving you permission to spend your money the way you say you wanna spend it.
So why do you budget?
So you know where it's going?
So you know where it's going, you have a plan, every dollar you need to account for it. Do you have a different opinion?
Well, it's a couple of things. You don't wanna run out of money. That's when you run into problems. So it's very important to be conscious of, one, what you said before, where your money is going and how you're gonna spend it. So if it doesn't restrict you and you splurge, yeah, you are going to run out of money. And sooner or later, you find yourself where you really don't need to be, then the plan doesn't really help, or it's not as effective. So does budgeting restrict you? Yes, because you gotta apply early on, like I said, it's some discipline that goes with budgeting.
I agree, but before you make a budget, you're going to have your list of goals, what you're trying to do. So if you have that in mind, you're working towards something already. So your budget aids in your plan. It's just a small piece of it. So a lot of people look at budgeting as though it's a bad word or a curse word. So I'm letting you know.
In my opinion.
Right, but everyone has a different opinion. So I'm letting you know that you get to create your budget on how you spend it. But it goes in line with the introduction saying, hey, you have a goal, you have a plan. In order for your plan to work, you need to know where your money is going, every dollar. If you have extra money, where would you want it to go? It can go to pay down debt, it can go to buy a car, it can pay off student loan debt. I mean, it's a lot of
So
things.
why do you think, well, historically, most people, when they start to think about budgeting, is when they are in a more financial crisis. They don't think about budgeting early on when things are gravy, when things are good, right?
Mhm.
But when they find out like, oh my God, I only got $30 till the next time I get paid. Oh my God, I don't have any money. Oh my God, this bill is late. Then that's when it's like, okay, I need to do something now, like right this minute. But when things were good, and that's why I said it restricts you, in my opinion, because you could have avoided that crisis if you had restricted yourself by your spending habits. So I just disagree with what you said, but I understand why you said what you said.
That's the fact that they should have done that ahead of time. But most of the time, once they get down to that last 30, a budget is the last thing they're even thinking about. They're just like, okay,
No,
who
you're
can I
right.
borrow some money from? Oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do
Deeper
that.
in the hole.
And you can be there to tell them, okay, this is how you prevent that.
Correct.
In one ear, out the other, until it happens the next time. And still yet, they're not even thinking about what you said.
Yeah.
I
think
think
most
people
of
that
us-
like to budget, we have those goals ahead of time, like, wait a minute. You said I could get this car for what? Okay, now let me go figure out, you giving me a problem that I now have to solve. Let me go figure out how to do it, then make the budget, because now I want something. It's based on a want versus, oh my gosh, how did I get here? Because they still don't wanna open nothing to write anything down.
I think most of us was never taught to budget like early before we start making money. So it's usually not until we run out of money, then it's like, okay, now what did I do wrong? Then it's like, but I think if we, like, I wasn't taught about money, and I started entrepreneurship early. My parents taught me that, but even that, they didn't teach me how to, manage money. So I learned on my own. I'm a little more responsible than others, so I didn't run into a lot of issues. But had I known earlier, I could have, you know what I'm saying? So I think as we learn better, we do better, things like that. So, my daughter.
Let's address that difference in view. Because to be honest, you're both actually saying the same thing, but it's
Correct.
really the perception of
Correct.
how you look at it is different. So if you look at it as restricted, it makes it harder.
Correct.
But if you look at it as a plan,
It's
where
in a
you're
different
going, it's different, and then it's not exactly. Because one, I would say, can be negative versus positive experience mindset,
Correct.
which makes it one way. One way you're fighting with yourself, the other way you're working with yourself. So it's just a matter of how you get, but you're doing the same thing.
Correct.
So it's really looking at it. So I kind of agree with that, like what she said, when it's not really exactly restricting,
Correct.
but it's actually planning. Because some people are budget, but then you know what? It won't do them no good. You know why? Because they still don't have no plan. They don't have a plan. What is the budget going to do?
I
to
got
them?
extra $100.
Interesting, but what you said too is like, I was asked a question recently that what would your 47-year-old self tell your 20-year-old self?
Mhm.
And at 20-year-old, to be 20 at the time, I made a lot of money, right? That was way before I even went into finance. But to say the least, my response was like, I opened it, I said, man, my 47-year-old self would have told my 20-year-old self to save a little more.
I would definitely say save more and get into annuities and things like that.
Yeah, save a
When I
little
was
more,
younger,
invest a little more. Not saying I didn't do that,
Mhm.
but I could have did it on a scale where it would have made a difference from a financial standpoint. Now,
Mhm.
I mean, thank God I'm not in a bad situation, but I mean, it would have made a difference
I agree.
by doing it early on. So, yeah, thanks.
You know what? And also, elementary schools are bringing in bankers in now to like work with kids. So like they have junior achievement in high schools. So we had a personal banker come out like, and they started with 5th grade, and they started showing them how to make a savings account, and they even opened little like savings accounts with $1 to get them started, and started trying to teach them early about money management skills, which we didn't get those kind of skills. And now we see that we need to start younger instead of waiting till you get older and like, oh, nobody never told me about that.
Well, let me say this way. These days, I'm going to tell you one thing. Cause I would like to, I started making money when I was younger. But the thing is that I didn't have no one to teach me that. I had to run and open a bank account. I was at 12. I wouldn't open my own. Because, the thing I think that makes a difference, and it is that what is the biggest thing that drives anybody? A why. And the thing is that I was a computer geek back when I was a kid. I wanted a computer, so I went and opened an account, put money in there to build my computer. I would sometimes walk to the bank and put 5 cents in if I had to back in that time. But it's just a matter of a lot of, I hate to say it, even a lot of kids these days don't have anything to drive them. And even adults ourselves, after we get a certain point, we don't have nothing that drives us to really go in any direction to do what we want to do. But that's the biggest thing that I feel like would be beneficial to a lot of us. Because what will drive you to do what you need to do to get where you want to go?
That's true. definitely agree. Okay. This is an area that I enjoy, personal development. So I put my subscriptions on here. Now, the projected cost, I take it, I pay things for whenever they're due, or whatever the discount is. And my monthly fee is factoring in the discounted rate versus whatever they charge per month. So it's gonna be less on here than what it actually is. But the morning meetup, which is how we started doing our networking meeting, is because we were a part of that. And then a 7-figure podcast. So I'm in that too. David Shan and then CJ. And
Were
it's
you
one
in
of
before
the,
CJ came, or you?
no, CJ started it. Because they
Well, I'm
mentioned it.
Because David had his own first, then when they combined, he shut his down. Because I bought his course, David's course, and then when they came together, then he shut his down, and then they started the summit, the bigger one.
And that's the one they started at the podcast summit. And that's, so I
Which course
first,
did you purchase?
the one that we get free.
Oh,
With
with
the-
the,
Yeah, and then what made it so weird, I actually purchased it before I joined the morning meetup. And then I joined and it was free, I was like, ugh, it saved me a couple $100.
But they're saying the course next year is going to be around 2,500. But this year you were able to get in for $997. So that's how I took that and came away $3 more. And yeah, so it's CJ on there, it's David Shan, and then it's another young man on there too,
Is it Carl?
Carl. Those 3 people. And they have the Via's attorney, because I actually went through the whole course and finished it. She talks about branding and yeah, she's giving some information on that too. So, any additional personal development, you know, we put it in there. Now, personal care, it depends on how it is. Your cell phone, if you pay for subscriptions for, what is that? What's that, extra data? You pay a storage.
Storage.
You pay extra fee for storage, include that in there too. Hair and nails, clothes, massages. Y'all get to put whatever categories y'all want on there, but, you know, I'm putting the ones that, I think are essential. So massages, health club,
What do you consider essential?
whether you do or not. A massage.
How essential is that? You can do without it. But anyway, no, let's keep going.
Okay, so then, if you're a part of any organization that has dues, then put that on there. I love this category that I added, is just because money or smile. So this is money that I do just because I wanna spend it, or if I wanna make someone smile, then I get to allocate a portion of this money to them.
Please make me smile. Why don't you?
Okay, so then the other side, which I don't use too much, but hey, there's situations where this is needed. So this is for repairs and labor, your home expenses, where it's HVAC, bathroom, drywall, bedroom, exterminator, sink, toilet. You have, and if any of these categories do not fit what you need, please change the label to what you need it to be.
Person, automotive to that is too.
Well, I got automotive with transportation
Okay. Even the repairs and stuff is in there.
for, yeah,
Chip maintenance.
Chair maintenance.
it's maintenance and other.
Correct.
So it's maintenance and other for transportation. So, I mean, if you lump them into different categories, then you get to like drill down on it a little more. And so that category is 0. If you have any loans, somebody had a softball, student loan debt, credit cards, list however many credit cards, if you need more room, add everybody on here. or lump them together, your projected monthly amount. Put those amounts in. Taxes. These are for individuals that wind up owing more or entrepreneurs that have to prepare for the upcoming tax season. You can include that in your monthly budget. $2,000 a month needs to go set to the side for state, local, and federal taxes. Now this is a good category. Savings and investments. You have a retirement plan. This is in addition to your 401k or whatever your retirement plan with your job, because that comes out your check before you see it. This is the amounts that you get to invest in the categories you want, whether it's investing in property, personal savings, investing in a vacation. So it's, yeah, I'll tell that vacation one later. Okay, so then gifts and donations. So whether you have kids, you have nieces and nephews, it's just, this is your plan for how you spending your money. If you're already spending on gifts, categorize it. How much do you spend every month on giving gifts? It's essential that as much as you receive, a portion of it you should get a charity or help someone with nothing in return. Add a gift. This does not have to be your tithe and offering. As long as it's charitable giving, however you see fit, that's fine. So then
So it has nothing to do with what you give to church, you said?
it doesn't have to be. But you can label that if it's tithe and offering, then label, hey, this is going tithe and offering. Or charitable giving. It can be given to a non-for-profit if you want a tax write-off for it, right? You can say,
But you still get a tax write-off for that dime, for every dollar you give to church too. They give you 1099.
some churches do, some don't. The mega churches do. I'm not for sure all of them.
If you ask for things,
Yeah.
because when we were doing it, our church, we had just started, we were doing it out the gate too. So,
Okay.
I just think sometimes you have to ask for it, everybody just don't do it. I don't even know if everybody even keep track, but it is something you can do for, or just keep track yourself, because you know how much you get.
Well, when you do file your taxes in order to write it off, you will need their tax ID to report that under. So
And
you
not
get
all of them.
audited.
Not all of them are 501c3s.
Correct.
Exempt status,
That's-
so those don't
so-
count, but they won't tell
That's
you
a
that on
good
paper
point.
when they give it to you.
That's a really good point.
So,
You know what I didn't notice though, and I don't know where you place it in your plan that you're sharing with us. What about paying yourself?
that's personal savings.
Okay,
That's what I say, you get to rename them what you want.
okay.
So personal savings is a way that I can pay myself. Okay, so then if you have, alimony, attorney, legal fees, and I know some people pay for legal Zoom or I think it's like 20 minutes, legal shield.
Mhm.
Put that here. So it's a category for everything. And if it's not, create your own.
But you do that too. So many things you really see.
So when you're budgeting, it's best to do a zero budget. And a zero budget is your income is gonna equal your expenses. If it's not, if they don't equal, then go back and adjust it. Whether it's you have extra income, okay, now you got more categories, or increase some of the categories you already have. If your expenses exceed your income, that's when you have to go back and look at some of these categories, whether it's personal care, what can I cut, or
What's essential?
what's essential. No, that's true. Is it, essential to pay a large amount to get my hair done every week?
Nobody needs cable.
I agree.
at all.
But now it's cable, streaming.
Yeah, so one streaming is fine, but you find that people have like everything under the sun. All of those subscriptions cost more than a cable bill.
And that's true, that's why I'm learning.
I'm like, what?
And my brother told me about just paying for cable, and they have a Fire Stick where you pay $169
A
and
one-time fee.
a one-time fee, and you get all the channels. I don't remember. I don't even think I asked him for the name, but I told him I need to find that because if I can just decrease my cable and internet, that's an additional $80 right there.
But then you can take into consideration how much you actually watch. Cause I don't even have TV, I just pay for internet. Cause on the two things I'm doing, either I'm on Netflix or I'm on YouTube. Mostly I'm on YouTube.
And YouTube free.
Videos, right, and so I just need internet for that. So, you know, which I always thought cable was just overpriced, cause half of the channels you don't watch, and then sometimes it's just multiples of the same channel. You know, so it's like, oh, you get 500 channels, yeah, but like 100 is the weather channels. So it's like, what you gonna do with that?
But you can't watch the soaps on that. So if you like a soap person and you have to watch the soaps every day because you're not
Some
recording,
people come
business, not
on
watching stuff.
regular TV now.
I'm just saying, you know, yeah, you can record it on cable though, and then you go back at the end of the day at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and you watch what you missed all
Well, I'm
day.
sure you can plan it.
Oh, this is where we go back to the time and the money. You can't
Yeah.
get that time back.
I would say one
I
thing,
live
you
in
could also
shows.
do, these days, YouTube TV.
For the soaps,
A lot of things. It changes based upon where you are.
Okay. But you still can go to particular categories to see what can you cut. You know, personal development. Hey, you might have to cut personal development out. That's $116. And go get a library card.
I was gonna mention that. So, like I have Audible, so all of my books pretty much is like self-help books, so that would count too, wouldn't it?
Yes,
all
that's,
I know.
and I should have put, no, I canceled my Audible. But I still, so if you have Audible and you cancel it, you don't have a monthly subscription, but you still have access to all your books. You
I
just gotta
wondered
pay.
about that too.
Yeah, they can't get that, you bought them. They have-
Correct. And if you have a subscription, this is just, you know, if y'all want to do it, I've tried it several times and it works. You have the subscription and you let them know, hey, no, I want to cancel. They send you to that screen and say, okay, we'll give you 3 months free. Or we'll do this, or we'll give you extra $5 if you keep it. Hey, you can save money that way too. You can say, you know what? Yeah, I keep it.
You go to gym,
You go to gym for 7 years. You do it?
You do it once a year, and then it's done. I didn't tell you to give me the offer.
Ida, did you have a
That's a
question?
straight back to
Okay, let me turn you up. Okay, so what she was just saying that is that if you have a library card,
Mhm.
you can, is it called Hoopla, you said?
Yeah, if you go online, it's Hoopla Digital, but if you use the app, it's just called Hoopla, Hoopla.
And that's free if you have a library card.
Hoopla.
Hoopla.
So
So,
put it in,
oh, awesome, thank you.
Now, there's another service that gives you a subscription, but with that, you get a boatload of books, it's Scribe.
It's called Scribe.
Yeah, and what they do is like a lot of books that are, I mean, you may not get always the latest book, but you get a lot of books out there that you can use. I mean, they're libraries. You can read them, and they have them you can listen to as well.
Correct.
You can download them. So I have kind of, I have Audible and Scribe.
Oh, awesome.
Because I be driving a lot, so. Keep my mind occupied.
Awesome. Okay, so, I mean, you look and you figure out, hey, what areas can I cut? You can cut gifts. You can make gifts. You can spend time with a person. Hey, your time is very valuable.
I just laugh because
I know. Yeah, you're thinking about it.
yeah, it just.
And all this is temporary because you have a goal you're trying to reach. Once you reach your goal, you get to change it. And now you're looking at, okay, how can I cut more expenses and have more money to do something different? But first, I just want us to start doing the budget. And so, even though I'm giving this presentation on budgeting, and I love budgeting, I have to mention a situation that I came across when it comes to me going on a vacation, and I had a set budget. I agreed to that budget, but based on my research, the flight, if we would have came back the same day, we were gonna have a layover. But if we come back the next day, which is $300 extra, there's no layover, and it's $300. We get to stay another day on vacation. I thought it was worth it. But the person that I was with didn't think it was worth it because they said, okay, you have a budget. This is the amount you agreed upon. So I lost that argument or debate, and we came back on the time with the delay. So I'm saying that. How did it make me? Oh, I was fine with it.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, but
Here's the thing
you
again.
created the budget and you're making adjustments to your budget.
I
An
agree.
adjustment is adjustment. We're getting rid of items and we're also adding other things based on our goal.
That is true, but the budget that we set and we agreed upon, it wasn't my money. So I didn't take, I had to say, I'm okay with it, we're good with it. And
Well,
it's
another
okay.
thing to do what you just said though, I don't think it really matters who money it is.
I agree.
I think discipline is, in my eyes, is the key here because it's not just so much I'm spending your money here and it's not my money, so I spend it any type of way. Because I have that concept that the way I'm going to spend my money is how I'm going to spend your money.
I agree.
The way I'm going to treat my stuff is how I'm going to treat your stuff if I'm using your stuff. So I think that's just something I do. It's a pet peeve of mine. So I'm not taking advantage of people, or I'll stay in my welcome, or even just undermining people. Because sometimes you gotta be careful with stuff like that. Yeah, you can't just take advantage of people and think it's okay. Because it's gonna happen again, then people try to avoid you and stuff like that. So I think it means more that you do that, regardless if it's yours or not.
No, I definitely agree. But yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, well, if it was not your money, then it does come down to a whole different ballgame, in my opinion, as you know. But to me, then I'll be back again at the time. I was like, if it were my money, I'm like, okay, I want my time here, or I want my time in a room, and then I can just fly straight back. I mean, it's like, it's just
What do you want to
everything.
do?
Yeah, what do you want to do? 'Cause
That is
And in making an adjustment to the budget, what about making adjustments to the income? What else do you have to do in order to
that's gonna
cover
be my
that?
next thing. Yeah, 'cause
Because that was what I was talking about with making an adjustment. Well, okay, where else do we cut or increase?
that makes sense.
like, what more money can we bring in to fix this budget here? I remember, and it was hard for me in the beginning when I was doing like, it's the time I was doing Amway. And the main thing that everybody told me there was just out earn the problem. Out earn the problem. That's me.
I like that.
But keep it as they say, out earn the problem. And one story I remember one guy had is, back in those times, they were doing, the leasing cars just started. Now this guy was like halfway to the top. But the thing it came down to is that his car, he put a lot of miles on it. So he wound up having them, how they had those fines for you going over the mileage? His fines were $10,000.
Wow.
So he wanted to just buy the car. They wouldn't let him.
Yeah, no. 'Cause
They wanted their money.
first,
Well, good thing was, he out earned the problem. He had the money.
Wow.
that year, he had earned enough, he had earned like 20,000 in sales. He out earned it, he paid for it, but they lost him forever.
Wow.
Because they would have had an ongoing customer. But it's just like, again, that's the story he told about, just out earn your problem. You can't out earn it. Hey,
But, I mean, just to add on though, Ernest, right? Ernest said something that was interesting early on, and I'm kind of listening. He said, really understanding what money is. And I truly believe that if you don't understand money, it's like you will really not see the value at all, what it takes to make more money. You won't understand wealth, period. It's almost like you will have money, you continue to use money, but if you don't position money, money will not make you money. So, I mean, what's your name again?
Erica.
Erica mentioned something about cutting back, making budget adjustment along the way and stuff like that, which is very important to do that because that's part of the primary reason of budgeting. It's almost like planning. You mentioned planning, another word for what I said early on, and evaluating basically where your money is going. So when you start to understand it, or goes back to Ernest's point, that understanding exactly what the value of money, putting money in a checking account, as it relates to putting in a savings account, putting in a CD account, putting in an annuity, putting in a mutual fund, or going to the stock market. So it's all baby steps where you get to the big leagues, right? Then as you put those money in places over the period of time, you get residuals, you earn more money. But they can sit in that checking account because you see it every day. It does not really make you nothing. So as you understand the value of money and how money really works, you can be sitting at home and making money. Where you don't have to really go to places to make money. Or you don't have to do 8-hour shift to make money. So until people can really understand that and position money in the way they really need to, we have to have this kind of conversation with a lot of people.
and especially with ourselves.
With ourselves at times.
You say it ain't good to put your money in a checking account. It ain't the good. It's not the good idea.
Well,
Unless
it's
you're
good for
gonna
the bank.
immediately spend it.
It's good for the bank because the bank will make a lot more money on your money just sitting in a checking account that's not really earning you any type of
Anything,
interest.
So let's put in a savings account.
Well, it depends what the money is for. A lot of times when you look at money, you say, okay, is this money here, is it for short-term usage? Is it money I need right away? As it relates to, is it money I don't really need to touch right now? So once you can assess that away from your budgeting, then you know exactly where to park it. And why sit there? Let it make you some money.
So that's a savings account.
Well, it could be,
That's one.
I went through the line, it could be savings, go up to money markets, let's just say, I mean, on and on and on and on, where you want to park
Brokerage
it.
account.
Brokerage, yeah. Go up to-
Brokerage gives you good money for your.
Broker's account, you said?
Yeah, brokerage account will at least pay you more than a savings account.
Correct,
Because if you have it in there, they will pay you interest on your money more than a bank will.
correct. And
Yeah.
some of these.
So how would you do the broker's account? How
You can go to Fidelity, you can go to TD Ameritrade, different places. Well, if they trade stocks, usually they have a brokerage account. Some banks have brokerage
Correct.
accounts.
Or get you a third party or investment executive to kind of guide you through the process. It was new to you. Where you don't want to be a little bit more aggressive, you want to take little baby steps until you really understand it, and you can control it yourself. Then you don't need that person. Almost like a gym membership.
Yeah, because one thing I would say, if you want to
I
learn
didn't
from
say that.
somebody like that, there's a lady
your
on
personal
YouTube called Ashley Fox.
Man, who?
Ashley Fox.
Ashley Fox.
Yeah, I mean, she does a lot of things when it
She a
comes to.
broker.
No, she's actually a trader though. She's $1 million. She's a millionaire. She does trade. She does. You get into trading. Dividend stocks.
Ashley Fox.
Ashley and Fox. And you look, she even takes beginners through things, so that's one option too. I'm not saying don't do that.
No,
I'm
I
just saying
get
it's
you.
like
I get you.
people like that for us. And the best part is, another black person.
Oh, really?
You seem to get that too. So you say he's like, I mean, her mindset, oh, she will crack you if you have to. I mean, she'll crack yourself. But she's like, what we all fight on, you know. It's a battle, we know it, but it's just that a lot of us aren't playing the game. That's the challenge. Yeah, there is racism, but a lot of us aren't playing the game to really beat the racism. That's the challenge. We're fighting it through protesting. That's not going to really get us where we want to get. We need to fight it by just beating them at their own game because we did it once. Do it again. That's where Black Wall Street came from. They were booming. So they got destroyed. But it seemed like we're scared to do it again.
Y'all can say corner the market in Atlanta. They got some things going on in Atlanta.
Yeah, they got some things going on. I heard about that. It's like also like a little bit of crazy.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love it. They're crazy. It's like that Southern spirit catches me.
All right, so I guess we're pretty much closing out the budgeting. I did in the Excel sheet that I sent out, I have the budget, I have the notes from tonight's presentation. In the last page, I wanna touch bases on it for a minute, because after you start budgeting, and whatever your goals are, wherever you are, know your numbers. Your numbers in reference to, I'm gonna start with health first. Know your health numbers, go to your doctor. Know your financial numbers of budgeting, where all your money is going. But you also want to have a personal financial statement. And so I'm gonna go over this briefly, and if we wanna do another webinar on this, then that'll be fine. Just filling out your personal financial statement. Take all your assets, whatever they are, minks, furs, jewelry, listed, in addition to your savings, checking account, CDs, retirement account. Every asset you have listed. Then you take your liability, all your liabilities. When you're looking at liabilities, don't only look at the stuff that's on your credit report if you owe people money. You put that on here too. Write out all your liabilities, because how this helps you in reference to your budget is now you have a plan. You know where your money's going. So if you have extra money and you have this large liability out there, now you can start tackling your liabilities. And I think we had discussed Dave Ramsey's snowball effect at one of the meetings. So, but just knowing, hey, this is how much money I have. This is what I have to work with. How can I pay down some of that debt to increase my assets, or to pretty much increase my assets? And then once you finish that, you'll get what your net worth is. Sometimes it's negative, sometimes it's positive. But once you start paying attention to where you are, you know where you want to go. And you have all the tools. So, that pretty much concluded our budgeting.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Okay.
Now listen, okay. I got like 6 credit cards, right? On a couple of dollars on them. Will it mess up my credit score if I pay them off and just close the account? Would that mess with like I got a couple of credit cards with credit limit 10,000. I got some with 8 but I'm trying to get rid of the small ones. Somebody was telling me, well, if you pay them all off and they see it mess up, would they mess up your credit? And you just pay them off, like let's say I owe like on one card I owe like just $135. That was like a $1,200. Another one I owe like $500-600. And somebody's telling me, well, if you pay them all off and you close the account, it'll bother your credit score. What?
It's nothing to actively report if there's nothing on the card.
Yeah, so
Especially
if there's no card, there's nothing to report. So yes, it will affect you,
It shouldn't
because there's
just
no
stay
payment
dormant.
history. There's no history.
So-
Well, that's if you close it though. What
If
if
you
That's what he
close
said.
it,
He's talking about
it affects
closing
you.
it.
So
Yeah,
if
he
it's
said about
zero,
closing.
I will keep it open.
If it's 0, just keep it open.
Yeah, no,
So-
I wouldn't advise that you close it.
Right. So like, is it good to just don't mess with it at all, or sometimes spend
You gotta have something on it, but they don't see no utilization, they will close it.
But let me ask
would it
you,
still affect your credit score if they close it?
Yep.
yes,
Yep.
it does. But one, it goes to what's your plan? One. Two, are you paying an annual fee for that credit card? Because,
Yeah.
so, if you're paying an annual fee for that credit
All
card,
of them? Yeah.
Then I would think about, I'm seriously gonna say,
Change the credit card.
shop for some different ones, switch it over, and then just close those. If you have a different one, if you can get some, cause if you got that, then you know, they're gonna see it, so they can.
History is gone.
well,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
history is gone, but ask this question. You can,
One history based on
depends
tonight.
on which
What-
credit card it is, see if they can give it to you free for you. So if you've been with them for a minute, you wanna keep that history, it depends on what you're paying. Keep the history.
There are cards out there that doesn't require you to pay an annual fee. So I would look at, like, if I had 6 cards, there are certain things I would look at, okay? I would look at all 6 cards first of all, and look at what the credit limits are, right? So if you got a card that have a $300 credit limit, do you really need that card?
Right.
Right, because there's just so much you can do with it.
Right.
What are the interest rates you are paying on every single one of these cards? Now, I mean, we know interest rates just skyrocket. Some people pay 29% on a credit card. Do I want to pay 24? That's really bad in my eye. You know, so do I want to pay 29% on a credit card? No, I do not. It's like giving your money away. Okay, I talked to V about it, using a credit card and pay it off before the 30-day period, so you don't pay no interest on it. So you can get the reward. So it's like you playing them at their game to your advantage. But
But
you,
that's your overall goal when it comes to credit, period. is
Correct.
to use their money and not pay interest.
to your advantage at the very least cost to you. So you just need to assess first exactly how much is really costing you to have all 6 of those credit cards. Then you can make a more informed decision. But right now, just thinking, should I close it? Should I keep it? How much is interest? What's the limit? You gotta see all of that picture first,
Cause
so
I
it
got
can
a
make sense.
couple on 5, I got one 500, one 800, and one like 1100. Well, I got 2 on that's 10,000 apiece. So I was trying to, maybe I should pay these 3 off and just work with these 2, but that's not a good idea.
Yes.
Or just.
No, I would say pay them off, but don't close them, because it's in the middle of the year. Keep it the rest of this year. Assess what your goal is for 2024, right? Where you wanna be with credit, because if it dropped at 20 or 30 points, if you have no plan for your credit, it doesn't matter. You're saving, what the minimum fee might be, what, $70 a year?
That's
So,
what happened now.
You're saving $70, but your score dropping 20 points is not gonna affect you right now. So have that plan for your 2024. See what the cost of those cards are. But if they have lower balances, eventually you wanna transition those out.
What you mean by that, pay it off, right?
No, transition it where, well, so the smaller limits you have more history with those.
Right.
The newer ones, you're just getting started. So if you can maintain that for a year or 2, even though you're paying them a fee, you got that history, right? Within 2 years, now the larger limits have a history. They only go back 2 years on your credit report. So anything over 2